All right, everybody, welcome back. Welcome to March. Welcome to the Shopify changelog for this month on our channel. We do this every single month. Now, I gotta be honest, I looked at this changelog, and I don't know what it is about February or March, but for some reason, I feel like it was the same reason as last year. But this changelog this month kind of sucks. It's very localized for some reason. You'll see what I mean. There's some tidbits of information here, things that we can do, but I'm already back here in January by accident. We'll start here at the beginning, and we'll see what we can find. So starting on February 2nd, fulfilling transfers with Shopify POS, retail staff can now fulfill inventory transfers right from the POS. So Shopify POS is the in-person device. Transfers refers to in-person inventory transfers, perhaps from like one Shopify store to another Shopify store. And it looks like that this is a small improvement to the POS as Shopify shipped POS 10.20 that introduces a completely inventory transfer workflow for the POS. This update is just a small improvement if you have an in-person Shopify store. If you have multiple in-person Shopify stores, this is sort of interesting to you. But I think the grand majority of people don't have those. And so we're just going to take a quick look here and move on to the next update. February 2nd, sending payment requests per fulfillment. So you can now send separate payment requests for each fulfillment within a single order to collect payment as you ship partial orders. So this is an interesting new feature coming to orders here. And it's basically optimizing if you send orders that send out at different times. So it says with payment requests per fulfillment, you can manage cash flow for orders with mixed lead time. Collect payment on pre-orders as they arrive and ship in-stock items without waiting for back-ordered products. This information is given to the customer via their customer account or through the email they receive. So this is a particularly valuable feature and little update here if you do pre-orders, if you do custom products, or you do seasonal inventory where items ship at different times of the year. Again, sort of a very niche update. Next update, February 6th, a little update to balance. So auto lock staff balance or credit cards. Account owners can set a date on which staff balance cards or credit cards will be automatically locked or spending. So again, just a very minor improvement this month. Auto lock staff balance or credit cards. So Shopify Balance is a financial product that Shopify offers. Same with credit, Shopify credit cards. These are two different things, Shopify Balance and credit. So we just released the ability to lock staff balance credit cards on a specific date so that the account owner can help manage spending by ensuring staffs can only use their cards up to a specific date of the account's owner choosing. Small little update there. If you have staff, if you have a Shopify Balance card. Moving right along, February 9th, collect capital remittance through Shopify payments in Texas. So you see what I mean for this changelog update? It's very strange. It's very localized. But regardless, we do this every month. We're going to go through it. Collect capital remittance through Shopify payments in Texas. So Texas remittance update, new Shopify capital financings originated on or after September 1st, 2025, now repay through Shopify payments payouts instead of ACH. ACH is just a payment method. And this is only relevant to you if you're on the Shopify platform, if you have Shopify Capital, and if you have Shopify Capital and Shopify payments in Texas. Small little update there. Nothing the grand majority of us will need to know. Another one of these updates here, very localized. February 9th, Australia Post account linking available on Grow and Basic plans. Australian merchants on Grow and Basic plans can now connect their Australia Post accounts to buy and print shipping labels from their Shopify admin. So a little improvement here to the shipping workflow. This isn't a new feature. It's just an update to Australia Post specifically. So if you're in the United States, you're in Canada, you're in Great Britain, there's a lot of different ways that you can connect your account directly to the Shopify admin, but that's very, very specific per country. So Australia is getting their little update here, and you can take these steps to link your Australia Post account. The Grow account, by the way, if you're not familiar with this term right here, Grow plan is the renamed version of the Shopify plan. Remember there was Basic, Shopify, Advanced, and then Plus, and then there's also Starter before Basic. This middle tier is no longer called Shopify plan, it's called Grow plan. That's not super new anymore, but honestly, that always annoyed me. Why would the plan be called the Shopify plan? It's like, what plan are you on? I'm on the Shopify plan. It's like, no, I know you use Shopify, but what plan are you on? Are you Basic? Or it's like, no, I'm on the Shopify plan. So they changed it to Grow. Okay, we love this new stuff here. So February 10th, sell fixed bundles on Google. Publish fixed bundles to Google. No additional setup required. Okay, so this is a pretty good update. This might be one of the biggest updates of the month that impacts a lot of Shopify merchants. So sell fixed bundles on Google. So obviously a bundle is a single product that houses multiple products. And instead of listing 4 products, you can strategically put them in a bundle for a variety of reasons. And then this bundle acts as its own product, its own listing, its own spot on your website, and it houses 4 individual products. So this update is just saying if you sell these bundles, and if you have a large category, you really should do it, and you really should think about it. It's an easy way to increase your average order value, for example. It's an easy way to get rid of clearance items if you really need. It's really, really good, obviously, around seasonal times and seasonal promotions and these sort of things. Very fun to do. One of the ways that you can create this bundle right here is with the free app Shopify Bundles. I think most people are familiar with that. And so it's basically saying, I guess it wasn't there before, on the product page, when you make your Shopify bundle, there was no option to toggle on the Google and YouTube publishing channel. You know, in the top right corner of the product page, you have the publishing settings here. One says market and one says channels. In order to sell on the Google channel, you do need the Google and YouTube app, and that's why that's here. But for some reason with a bundle, there was this incompatibility that looks like it's now solved. So if you have a bundle, make sure you add Google by checking off the box in the publishing settings. If you don't have a bundle, or you've never heard of the Shopify Bundle app, take a look, see what bundles you can make. It can definitely help out your store and help out your customers in a variety of ways. That's actually a good update. I like it. February 10th, create customers and companies with Sidekick. Sidekick can now create customers and companies for you. Just describe what you need, and Sidekick will handle the form filling. So this is a strange little update. Frankly, it's a new update, but I don't like seeing all the new updates all the time just coming to Sidekick. That's why I like the update that we previously just talked about with the bundles thing. You know, Sidekick is good and they're always working on it. Some people say it's really bad. Some people like it. Some people don't like it. But every new update doesn't have to come to Sidekick. If everything is in Sidekick, I actually think it doesn't help as much. But anyway, create customers and companies. So when it says customers, we all know customers. Obviously, there's a customer tab. Everybody knows what a customer is. But a company is specific to B2B. B2B stands for business to business, obviously. And B2B is actually only a plus feature. So if you're, B2B, most of the time you're talking about plus stores. But for example, Sidekick can now create a quick customer just in plain language and create a company just in plain language, just like that. Small little update. This update here on February 12th, use metafields as dimensions and filters and analytics, is one that has been talked a lot, in Shopify forums and Shopify communities. Use your custom metafields, products, variants, customers, orders as dimensions and filters in analytics. Segment by materials, loyalty, tiers, and more without leaving Shopify. So let's dive into this one. It says we've released metafields in analytics. Okay, so this is a new feature coming to the analytics and the reports section of Shopify, but also combining the metafields and meta object settings in your product settings and in your admin. It's combining these two things. So apparently the issue before was that in order to explore your reports and your analytics by specific metafields or meta objects, for example, like a variant or a customer or an order or like a material here or a loyalty tier, metafields and meta objects is so expansive. You can do so much stuff with it. It's not super beginner friendly, but if you use it, it has, interesting use cases. You don't have to use it by any means. But apparently the issue here before was that in order to look up analytical information about these things, you'd have to leave Shopify. So Shopify introduced a new little section here in the analytical tab that says you can use your custom data like the metafields and the objects in your reports without leaving Shopify. You can see it right in the Shopify analytics. So, this update's an interesting one. I love seeing these new things. It's right on the Shopify admin, but some stores use metafields, some don't. Some use meta objects, some don't. Some use metafields and meta objects extremely well, and others just think it's too complicated to look into. And honestly, all of the above answers are totally fine, but if you use them, small little update there for you. So another little sort of localized update here. Improved United States sales tax report. U.S. sales tax report now include more product category, exemption, and address details, plus corrected jurisdiction totals to help you file state returns and export accurate data. Okay, so a lot of people use Shopify in the United States, obviously. So this is a sales tax report for the United States. So we've added data fields and fixed calculations in 2 U.S. sales tax reports used for filing and exports: the state level detailed transaction report and jurisdiction report. So we have these 2 updates for the detailed transaction report and these 2 updates for the jurisdiction report. Starting to get very niche into tax stuff, very niche into the report stuff. We have some information on how each report is used and data fields and these sort of things, but apparently this was a needed update and now it's there. February 18th, enable offline checkout from POS device settings. So store staff now have the ability to activate offline checkout mode per device, give proper permissions with an event logged under store activity logs. So an update to in-person point of sale devices. This is relevant if you have an in-person device and you also have staff in those in-person devices, so not the majority. Of course, when you have staff, you can give each staff member permissions, and within each account, be that account owner or staff, there is an event log. There was a pretty big update last month about offline checkout that we talked about more, and this update is just going off of that larger update when it comes to offline checkout. Offline checkout is just a way for POS devices, if there is, like it says here, internet connection issue or power outage, they can still continue to do checkouts even if you lose power, because that's one of the biggest issues for in-person devices. You can check out the main update for that one is in last changelog update video on my channel, so check that out if you need more info. And the reason there's so many POS updates is this reason right here. February 18th, the new POS version has been launched, version 11. Shopify POS version 11 is here. Faster, clearer, more consistent cart and checkout experiences that help staff move confidently through every in-store transaction. So some of the highlights, POS version 11, is we have some improved cart and actionable workflows, some smarter ad customer flows, faster and more consistent checkout, refined post-purchase experience, performance and reliability improvements. This is a whole update. So as you can see, POS version 11, this isn't a sub update that keeps the main version number and adds a sub update. If you have a POS device, pause it and read these updates in full. This is another very regional update here. February 25th. I told you that kind of changelog. This is what we got this month. Usually they're not like this. Like we do this changelog every single month, and there's usually 2 or 3 or 4 actionable insights that every Shopify store could take. And this month it's very localized. They're just fixing up a bunch of things. But regardless, California embedded battery fee supported with Shopify Tax. Shopify Tax will start calculating and collecting California's covered battery embedded waste recycling fees on eligible orders for select product categories. So what product categories trigger this fee is very interesting. So here's the Shopify taxonomy breakdown. Any one of these, I suppose. Wow. And there is a lot of them. Anything that has to do really with electronics, everything that has to do with electronics will have this new fee if you're using Shopify Tax and I suppose Shopify Payments. If you do not wish to collect this fee, you can change the product category to an option that is not listed below, and the fee will not be assessed. But if it's on, as of January 1st, 2026, California requires covered battery embedded recycling fees on certain products sold or use in California, as determined by the customer's shipping address, right? So when you're selling to California, that contain a battery not designed to be easily removed with common household tools. This change will take effect on March 12th. So that's exactly what it's saying here. Confirm the product categorization. Is any of these in the list? If it is in this list, it will start charging this fee. And if you don't want to charge this fee, you can change the product to a taxonomy category that doesn't trigger the fee, and that's any one of these. All right, just a few more updates to round out this very strange month on the Shopify changelog. February 25th, VAT number validation available in checkout. So merchants using Shopify Tax in the European Union or United Kingdom can now enable VAT number validation at checkout to automatically apply the reverse charge exception on eligible orders. So this specific update applies to merchants who use Shopify Tax in the European Union or United Kingdom and have at least one fulfillment location inside the European Union. Reverse charge eligibility is based on the order's fulfillment location country, not your store address. And then within the settings tab, your checkout settings, there's a set the company VAT number field to optional if you sell B2B customers in EU or UK. Here is an update that I think everybody can understand. One of the first ones in the Shopify changelog. Thank you very much. Legacy customer accounts are now deprecated. So legacy customer accounts no longer receive future updates and technical support. Upgrade to the latest version now to deliver a frictionless sign-in and account experience to your customers. This is a change customer account. Okay, so this isn't brand new news, but it looks like it's finally being kicked in. Here's the update right here. But basically, to sum it up, is there used to be 2 kinds of customer account for your Shopify store. So there were legacy customer accounts, and then there were new customer accounts. And the main difference, as it keeps saying here, more secure sign-in, built-in features, no code customization with apps, were the main issues with these customer accounts, the legacy customer accounts. So what Shopify did was a final sunset date for legacy customer accounts will be announced later in 2026, but they've been talking about sunsetting this for a while now. We strongly recommend that merchants upgrade to the latest version of customer accounts as soon as possible to take advantage of these things. Mainly, more secure sign-in is an interesting one with conversion rates because the legacy customer accounts use the email and the password so that the customer logs in with their email and their password, but we all know very difficult to remember all these passwords, and so if the customer can't log into their account, they may not buy from you and you may not make the sale and your conversion rate will go down. So new customer accounts sort of takes care of that issue because when somebody makes a customer account, the PIN is emailed to the customer's inbox and then they just log in with the PIN instead of a password. So they really don't have any issues logging into the account as long as they actually use an email address that makes sense for them. And then, of course, when you're using apps that have to deal with, credit or reviews or anything like that, the account section, the account subdomain of your Shopify store is always sort of a little bit disconnected. It's kind of its own area. And that's why there's account specific settings in your Shopify store. So with new customer accounts, no code customizations, built-in features like store credit, self-return, B2B support, and these things, and more natively support the new customer accounts. And that's why they're sunsetting this feature. Actually, it took a long time for Shopify to move this over. I remember 3 years ago, there was still the option on the account screen to either choose legacy or new account. And so 3-4 years later, they're finally getting rid of the legacy account. Seems like that's a while because Shopify moves quite quick. That's what you need to know about that one. A very regional update here. DHL, not sure how to say that, now available for small package shipping in Germany. A new affordable shipping option for small packages is now available in your Shopify admin for Germany. So an improvement coming to the Shopify admin for German merchants or possibly those who also sell to Germany. You can now access DHL. So DHL obviously is a courier. Client packet, obviously a German word for some sort of shipping option. When buying shipping labels in your Shopify admin, the service offers affordable rates for small packages with reliability of DHL's network, ideal for small goods like accessories and cosmetics. So here are the package limitations. Let's see. The length 10 centimeters and width 7 centimeters and a height of 0.1 centimeters minimum, and then maximum is 35 by 25 by 8 centimeters tall. So thin packages only. Maximum weight is 1,000 grams or 1 kilogram. Again, ideal for small goods like accessories or cosmetics. Another DHL shipping option in Germany. It doesn't really say anything about if it's only for German merchants or for those sending to Germany, but regardless, small update there for DHL. And then we just have 2 last small little updates for this month. Okay, I hope you learned something. I hope something popped up for you. That's why we do it. We're improving our Shopify stores. We're keeping up with Shopify's features. But like I told you at the beginning, a very localized Shopify changelog. Usually there's some more actionable insights each month, but we'll see what happens next month regardless. Anyway, see how duties are calculated on your orders. The detailed duty calculation breakdowns are now available on orders as improvement for international shipping. We've just released duty calculation breakdown for merchants using Shopify duties and import taxes. You can now see exactly how duties are calculated on cross-border orders, including rates and tariffs. This is available directly on your order details page. You can independently verify calculations yourself and confidently explain charges to your customers. That's one of the biggest things. Transparency, especially if rates change post-checkout from what they pay. Like sometimes the tax rates are estimated and then the customer buys your product at one rate and then they receive an email later on saying, oh, we're charging you a little bit more because the tax rate was estimated. These sort of things are very good for transparency. But we can see tariffs, duties, and these things still making a big impact on Shopify and e-commerce. And then the last update of the month coming for POS. Once again, POS Editor now supports editing smart grid tiles and screen settings, update smart grid titles without deleting them, and access lock screen and customer display customizations from clear layout sections in the POS Editor. So this is coming off of the new POS release that they just did and we just talked about. It just says we've added editing to smart grid tiles in the POS Editor because it's faster to update tiles than deleting and rebuilding them. So this is very simple. The POS is Shopify's in-person device. On the Shopify in-person device on your side, grid sort of looks like this. There's checkout and stuff on one side, and then there's grid, a grid of apps and options here for you on the left. That is referred to as the smart grid and the smart grid tiles. If you've never seen the Shopify POS or any of the hardware, you can take a look. Go to Shopify's website and just take a look. It's kind of interesting. Lock screen and customer display options of the POS Editor are now available in dedicated layout sections instead of being tucked under settings to make it easier to discover and understand what you're customizing. A small update there for any POS devices and any POS. That's it. Those are the updates for this March. March. Again, like I said, kind of underwhelming. I love looking at the changelog each month so I can understand what optimizations I can make to my Shopify stores and to educate all of you and bring our Shopify community together. So if you have a Shopify store, make sure you subscribe. If you're brand new to Shopify, check out our beginners program in the description below. If you're looking for some evergreen, affordable advertising options, help support the channel, look at our Patreon. And if you really liked it, leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you again for next month's changelog.